the interpretation part of the vectors is very, very critical. Probably more critical than a lot of other topics. Okay, and I truly believe, okay, for some of you whom even after we have done a lot of theoretical explanation about vectors, magic triangle, equation of lines, equation of planes, and if you are still stuck in vectors, very, very likely is because you didn't try to spend time to pause and understand the question first, and you are getting impatient, you were impatient and wanting to just immediately, without even analyzing the scenario, you just want to use the magic triangle. Without analyzing the scenario, you just want to ask yourself, how can I instantly write down the formula? This is not the usual way to do vectors question. So we have this, and the question asks us in part 1, we want to know what is OC. So to find OC, I guess this is super simple. It's a simple question. Anyway, I'm going to use ratio theorem. So OC is going to be equal to 1 minus lambda, this multiplied by A, then plus lambda multiplied by B divided by 1 minus lambda plus lambda. This is equal to, this is equal to 1 minus lambda A plus lambda B. Then the question also gave me this other piece of information. The question says that AD is to DB is mu is to 1 minus mu. So AD here, this is mu, and DB here, this is 1 minus mu, and we are supposed to find OD. Again, it is an easy question. We have a 1 minus mu of A plus mu of B divided by 1 minus mu plus mu. This will be 1 minus mu of A plus mu of B. Okay, super simple. Next, by considering the vector product of OC and OD, we are supposed to show that the area of the triangle OCD, again, like what I was telling you, I'm going to try to be obsessively drawing diagrams, drawing whatever that I interpret from the question onto my diagram as much as possible. Okay, so we are trying to find the area of this triangle and trying to show that the area is equal to that. So area of this triangle is going to be, I guess, after I have understood and interpreted the area as this, then I can try to go into my theory and ask myself which is the part of the theory that I can make use of for me to find area of triangle. It is easy also. Under cross product, we have area of triangle, cross product. We have area of triangle as this. So I'm going to make use of this. This is going to be half of the modulus of OC cross OD. Super simple again. So this is going to be half of modulus of OC. OC is 1 minus lambda of A plus lambda of B. So it is going to be this cross OD, which is going to be 1 minus mu of A plus mu of B. So we have this, and to simplify this, after I've used my formula, to simplify this to what the question wants me to get, I guess what we are going to be doing are all the algebraic portion of vectors, which is what we were trying to practice in September. Okay, for this portion, we are going to make use of all the algebraic stuff for vectors, which is all the dot product stuff and all the cross product stuff. We have one list over here. I believe your school's lecture notes also has the list. The aim is to try to make use of the list as much as possible. For today, right, our aim is to try to make sure that drawing diagram is part of our script, part of our solution. The thinking about the diagram, the thinking about the scenario, right, is also going to be part of our solution. Okay, but for this, it is a little bit different. For this, my suggestion is you're not expected to think too much. You're expected to do this as if it is algebra. Just like how you guys were practicing your algebra in Sec 1 and Sec 2, so that when it comes to your Sec 3 and Sec 4, when you are trying to do all those algebraic manipulations, they become instinctive, they become natural. That is your aim. That was why I gave you that worksheet in September and asking you, that worksheet, right, suppose is meant for you to practice again and again and again. So this portion, I will probably aim to do it a little bit more brainlessly. Okay, that's what I want to try to achieve during the exam also. So for this, This, if I were to do a bit of expansion, so I'm going to be using this A here to do the kind of expansion that I'm talking about. It is almost the same as multiplication, so it's going to be this cross this. This cross this, we will have a 1 minus lambda, 1 minus mu of A cross A. What is A cross A? A cross A, according to this list that is here, A cross A is going to be a 0 vector. Cross product is a vector quantity. That is why this 0 here is bolded. A cross A is a 0 vector. During the exam, my aim is to be able to just memorize this and then immediately be able to know that this is going to be a 0 vector. But since this is also a quick revision of vectors, right, let's just rehearse a bit. Okay, I think for H2 math, there are definitely parts where we are supposed to like hardcore memorize certain things so that I can dispense it during the exam as much as possible, as quickly and as accurately as possible. But also at the same time for H2 math, right, for many things that you are supposed to memorize, it's actually terribly good if you can also spend some time to understand it first so that you can feel something about it, before you memorize it, then you put it into the exam. Because that additional thing that you do, right, is what I believe will also propel you slowly up the bell curve. You're not like meaninglessly memorizing something. So let's do a quick discussion, okay? Like a quick recap. Why is it that A cross A is equal to 0? Because if I were to just trace it back all the way to the theoretical part of cross product, then what is A cross A? A cross A is going to be equal to modulus of A multiplied by modulus of A. Sine, what is the angle? A and A, the angle between A and A is 0. So sine 0 of n hat. N hat is a unit vector. So because there's a sine 0 that appears here, sine 0, the angle that is between A and A, sine 0 is 0. So it caused the entire right-hand side to become 0. That is why A cross A is a 0 vector. So next, it will be this cross this. So it is going to be plus 1 minus lambda mu of A cross B. This, it will be plus lambda 1 minus mu of B cross A. And then this, it will be plus lambda mu of B cross B. And since I have put in the effort to sort of like understand why this becomes 0, and then I memorize that it is 0, so the next time when I see this, I will feel more comfortable in just simply writing it as 0 during the exam. That is my aim. I'm going to try to transfer as much of the thinking from the exam to my preparation. So memorizing is the same. I will memorize so that I can do it fast in the exam, but I'll transfer the thinking part to before the exam, like now, as we are trying to do a bit of revision, which means that we are going to be left with a half of this becomes 0, this becomes 0. We're going to be left with half of modulus of 1 minus lambda of mu of A cross B, and this. This is B cross A. B cross A, if I want to combine it with A cross B, I can make use of number 2 here, because A cross B is equal to negative of B cross A. So this can become negative of lambda 1 minus mu of A cross B. I do want A cross B because what the question requires me to show here, right, is going to be something that involves A cross B. So this is going to be equal to half of modulus of, let's multiply this in, it is going to be mu minus away lambda mu. Then here, minus lambda plus lambda mu. If I were to factorize out A cross B. So we have this. This is going to be equal to half of modulus of, we have a mu minus lambda of A cross B. We have not achieved what the question wants us to do yet, because what the question is trying to ask us to show, right, has this mu minus lambda to be outside the modulus notation. So coming back to here, I know that this, if it were to be taken out, I need to first analyze whether this mu minus lambda is a negative number or whether it is a positive number. I go back to the question again. I'm not saying that this is difficult, it is just something that I want to be aware of. I go back to the question again, is there any way for me to determine whether mu minus lambda is positive or negative? It is here. This says that mu is bigger than lambda. So I know that mu minus lambda is bigger than 0. So because mu minus lambda is a number that is bigger than 0, this is given to me by the question. Therefore, I know that this can be written as half of mu minus lambda modulus of A cross B. In the past few A-levels exam, this year I have not managed to read it at all. Okay, so but in the past few years, right, you will realize that A-level has become more and more pro towards the problem-solving part. They are still holding constant for the theoretical part of H2 math, but the problem-solving part is what they are really trying to flame, like fan to flame that part. Okay, because that is actually really, really good and solid skill that I think all A-level students should try to acquire, especially when you're going to a university. So let's try this out, okay? Modulus. If you're not very sure about it, before you ask people, try to do a bit of experimentation yourself first, so they can understand the modulus notation. So you can understand the modulus function a little bit more. But next year, when we are doing our topical revision, right, I'm going to plan to have a session to discuss a bit more of modulus function. Okay, so we are going to do that also, but next year, okay? I don't think there's a good enough time for us to really talk about modulus like right now. But during revision, we are going to try to do that. Next, it is now given to me that A and B are this. Okay, let me write down this piece of information. So okay. So it is given to me that A is equal to that. So OA, position vector, which is this A here. I'm doing part 2. This is given to me as 2, 3, minus 1. And OB, which is this B here, this is given to me as minus 1, 2, 4. And we are also given that AC is to CD is to DB is 2 is to 3 is to 4. Okay, this is getting really crowded. But I'm still going to try to indicate. So here to here, if we talk about proportion of this portion, proportion of this portion, it is 2 is to 3 is to 4. And we are supposed to make use of these few pieces of information to try to find the area again. And this time we are supposed to evaluate the area. Okay, so to find the area, I guess A cross B is easy. A cross B is just this cross this. Okay, so no problem with this. Then after I do a modulus to it, I need to find numerically the numbers that represents mu and lambda. And to do that, I guess it is going to be making use of this proportion. For example, this is lambda. This is 1 minus lambda. This is 2. And this 3 plus 4, this is 7. So I will also assume, okay, but for some of you, you should be able to observe that if this is 2, this is 7. Then if this is lambda, this is 1 minus lambda. Lambda should be 2 over 9. Okay, I think some people can observe this. And if you can observe this, good for you. It's just that I don't have a proper way to explain it because you just sort of like saw it. It's very obvious it is 2 over 9. It is so obvious that you don't need additional explanation. So for those of you who can already see that lambda is equal to 2 over 9, good for you. If not, right, let me give you a bit of calculation. Okay, calculation is good because calculation is a little bit more systematic. Calculation bring forth advantage of you being able to just follow a more instructional approach to math instead of more observing kind of approach. So if I were to just go for a little bit more instructional approach, right, we can also deduce that lambda is equal to 2 over 9 because this proportion over this proportion, lambda over 1 minus lambda, this should be equal to 2 over 7. This tells me that I have a 7 lambda is equal to 2 minus 2 lambda. So 9 lambda is equal to 2. This tells me that lambda is equal to 2 over 9. I can do the same thing for mu. So if I were to reference it to mu, we have mu over 1 minus mu. This is going to be equal to 2 plus 3. This is going to be 5 over 4. So this tells me that 4 mu is going to be equal to 5 minus 5 mu, which means that 9 mu is going to be equal to 5. This tells me that mu here is going to be equal to 5 over 9. So with this, I guess we can find the area. The area is going to be equal to half of mu, 5 over 9, minus away lambda, which is 2 over 9. that modulus of A cross B, 2, 3, minus 1, cross minus 1, 2, 4. I'm going to leave it to you to do your calculations. If you have calculated everything correctly, this is going to be 7/6, square root of 6. Okay, an easy question for us to warm up.